Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss about a very important uh, topic about to become a bilingual. Want to become a bilingual means he has to understand, or he or she has to understand, what is language in our human thinking process. Are we thinking in different languages, or are we thinking using one language? This is a very important question that was asked by philosophers in different times. And the answer to that actually the answer was introduced by Aristotle, and he said, though we use different communication languages, our spoken languages and written languages are different, we essentially think in one language. That is called the language of thought. So language of thought for the entire humanity is one. And we all think using that language of thought. And this language of thought, many philosophers later interpreted as what is called mind language, human mind language. Or here in this book I explained it as mentalese. So mentalese is a term coined by a 4th century philosopher called Porphyry. Then many of the Christian philosophers later explained it in different ways. For example, Augustine explained it as he explained it as the knowledge of illumination in us, or epistemology of illumination that is there in every human mind. Later, many other Christian philosophers explained it as the language through which God speaks to man. In fact, classical philosophy also opinion that humans are blessed with logos, and compared to other animals, we have the logos as given as a gift from God or gift from nature, whichever way you want to explain it. And those thinkers, in fact, extrapolated in a very different way that we communicate with each other, or we could communicate with each other, or we can express our feelings with each other because of that language of thought is singular, it is one. Okay? So in fact, how that can help us to learn a new language? This is because we speak in different languages, but based on one language of thought, one language, and that is mentalese. But unfortunately, our language education methods anywhere in the world, in the scientific era, since 17th century, consider mother tongue as the language of thought. So if I am a Japanese, I have a feeling that I think using Japanese. Or if I am an Indian, I may think that I use Tamil or Hindi or Malayalam or any of these languages as my thought language. and I can only use other languages by translating my mother tongue to other languages. That is why most of the teaching programs of today are focused on helping the students to translate their thought from mother tongue to other languages, whether it is English or Spanish or Chinese or any other language. You actually appropriate in your classrooms to translate your thoughts from your mother tongue to other language. This is a big misconception, especially in many countries like Japan or Korea or even in India. These teaching methods are adapted, and people actually try to think in their own mother tongue and translate the idea into English or any other language that they are going to use. This misconception is what been criticized in this book. This book argues, as I told you before, that we have to learn an international language like English in the bilingual format. Means you will learn to translate your thoughts from Mentalese directly to English, as much as you are doing it with your mother tongue, like from your Mentalese to your mother tongue. So normally, the people who think that they are thinking using their mother tongue have a feeling that they are using only mother tongue to think. But actually, based on the bilingual studies, we are actually first translate our thoughts from Mentalese to mother tongue, and then retranslate it from mother tongue to English or any other language. This retranslation process creates a lot of problem, especially structural problem. For example, English uses a particular structure, means subject, verb, and object, whereas Japanese or Hindi or Tamil or all these languages use SOV format. And many researchers who work on this field have opinion that nearly 43% of the languages in the world are SOV format. That includes most of the Asian languages, whereas many of the European languages are SVO format. And that is why German people find it very easy to learn English. But the same German people will find it very difficult to learn Japanese. Similarly, I read one report for the American diplomats. Learning Japanese is the most difficult thing. But for them, learning Indonesian or some of the languages which follow SVO format, like German and all those languages, for them it is easy. Okay? For Indians to learn Japanese is not so difficult as much as it is for them to learn English. And that structural problem has to be tackled from the beginning. So I will talk about that later. But today I am talking focus on this aspect of Mentalese and how it is helping you to think in a language. And I tell you about the children. In this book, I have mentioned about a person, a little girl, a 5-year-old Sakura. She could speak more than 5 languages when she was just 5 years old. She lived in India. She born and brought up in India with mixed parents, Indian father and Japanese mother. And then because of the Indian life situation, she lived in a state where they speak one language. And the parents were speaking 2 different languages, and she had friends who speak another language. So she learned all the 5 languages naturally, very quickly, and that process she uses a very special method. Linguists like Chomsky says that children are actually learning the primary linguistic data, and using primary linguistic data they gain communication proficiency in each of these languages, and when they learn more the rules and grammar and all those things, they will be use it more efficiently, and they may be what do you call they may achieve the native proficiency all the time without any effort, extra effort. So now the bilingual brain studies have proven that children like Sakura has a propensity in the brain which is known as bilingual brain, and this bilingual brain actually absorbs languages. Whichever languages are open to these bilingual children, they will actually absorb each of the language. And this bilingualism or bilingual brain, which will be one of our discussion in this series of talks, and I will explain very much about the studies on bilingualism and so bilingual brain, and how bilingual brain help people to communicate in multiple languages. In my experience, I know a person who speaks 14 languages. It's not that he is, completely fluent, completely fluent or native in all the 14 languages, but he can manage. I myself can manage 6-7 languages. It is not that I have the competence of a native speaker to speak. I have a few languages in which I can speak fluently, and I can not only speak, I can read and write and all those things. So the language ability is actually an inherent ability that is available upon birth for each human person. So this book actually argues that. It argues in a different way that the scientific method that is adapted by this classroom, in the classroom, are not in fact exactly scientific, but because they are thinking that a linguistic group or a person who is habituated with one language actually confined in this frame of that language. That is, for example, my example, I never learned English in my younger years. I learned as a school subject, but I couldn't communicate. But later, little by little, I become a bilingual. Maybe when I was 21, 22, 23, that time in my life. So this is becoming bilingual, uh, we will discuss about the age, the what do you call the age at which one can critical age at which one can become a bilingual, because a child like Sakura will become bilingual if she is exposed to many languages, and when she attain her bilingual proficiency, she will add more languages very easily. Eh? But a person who go join, especially a Japanese student who join the high school and junior high school, where they start English education, find it very difficult to communicate in English. And maybe it is all because of the focus given to mother tongue and translation. So we will discuss about it later. This is a bilingual discussion. So I will switch over to Japanese. これは今日の話は私たちどうやって、言葉使って考えするということ。考えする言葉というのは私たちの国語ですか、国のお母さんと話した言葉ですか、そういうようなことを今研究人いっぱい研究してみて分かったことは、今の現在の研究じゃない哲学の場合で考えたらアリストテルの時代から考えする言葉ことを話したとき、アリストテル言ったことは、私たちいろいろな言葉を使って私たち話す、書く、それやるけども、私たちの人間によってある一つ言葉、最も一つ言葉というのは、これ英語で言ったら language of thought。この language of thought を考えする言葉というのは一つです。あれは Mentalese というこの本はメンタリス使ってどうやって英語を教えれるできるということです。このバイリングアルの場合で英語を教えるなら日本語から英語に訳しないで私たち考えることは直接メンタリスから英語に変わるを訳する。それどうやってと言ったら日本語に訳するように英語にも訳する。本当で見たら日本語で話すとき、このメンタリスから考えていることを直接日本語に言って話す。会話するを会長する。そのより私たち考えていることはメンタリスから日本語に入れて日本語に訳して英語に訳して英語で話す。So when you speak in English, you have to find this direct method of translating from Mentalese to English. Similarly, likewise, as you do to translate your thoughts from Mentalese to Japanese. It means you become bilingual and you will be able to speak and think in both the languages. Okay? これ、ワイトスの場合で説明するなら、私のことを見たら、私は英語は多分ちっちゃいから英語を使って習った人じゃない。ちっちゃいから。多分私12、13 歳になるまであまり英語できなかった。大学でとかちょっと難しいですよね。でもさっき私練習して英語聞いて英語で書いて英語でいっぱい本読んでわからないようにバイリングルになった。私5冊ぐらい本出版してる。全部英語で入った本ですね。そこで見たら anybody can become a bilingual. In fact, if you work, I mean, like if you practice the language properly. We will have another discussion in the coming days, yeah, maybe end of this week. And I wish you to follow this talks and try to understand a new idea about language. It's not a new idea; it is a classical idea. It was there till 17th, 18th century until certain changes happened in the language education field, about which I will talk in one of the coming lectures. I hope this talk was useful for you. If you find it useful, share it with your friends. Subscribe to this channel so that when I put a new video, it will come directly to you. And hope this talk was enjoyable for you, informative for you. Until next time, bye, goodbye.